deliver your lecture, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, to give presentation in this distinguished conference, which is the topic is Kalinga and Southeast Asia, decisional linkage. In this regard, I would like to present a bit different. It's not only focusing on Kalinga, but I will be giving presentation related to religious pluralism, tolerance, and civilizational linkage, a case study of India-Indonesia cross-cultural encounter. Let's start with, I think you all familiar. I myself very, what I call as fans of the late Mahatma Gandhi, my role model, of course, in this regard. But it is very interesting that I would like to quote related to tolerance as the basic of my presentation. According to Mahatma Gandhi, tolerance is the only things that we will enable persons belonging to different religion to live as good neighbors and friends. Once one assumes an attitude of intolerance, there is no knowing where it will take one. Just a starting point for my presentation. Let me discuss about I don't want to focus on the Kalinga itself because I know in general, of course, the Kalinga, and then the most important things of my presentation is the focusing on the Hindu-Islamic ritual and cultural dialogue, which promote the ideas of tolerance and respect to religious others, and then the legacies of impacts of Indonesianization in Indonesia. That's my general perspective related to this conference. Yeah, I would like to start by discussing the coming of Hindu and Buddhism to Indonesia as part of the process of what they call as Indianization of Indonesia to certain level. So in this regard, let's be back of the coming of Islam to Indonesia. In this regard, there are three theories here. The first theory is the Gujarat theory, in which stated that the coming of Islam to Indonesia is from a chance from Gujarat, then go to Indonesia, especially to Sumatra, Java, etc., and then establish Islam. That's the first theory. The second theory is the Mecca theory. It means that the coming of Islam, generally speaking, coming from Arabia, from Mecca. The third is from Persia. I don't want to discuss further, but in general, I myself strongly believe that the Gujarat theory is much more appropriate in this regard, especially by observing the process of what I call as Indianization of Indonesia. So in this regard, it's very interesting that from the very beginning is that especially the coming of Islam. At that time, Indonesia was dominated by Hinduism. But it is interesting that Hindu people at that time most welcome with Islam, and its spread in Indonesian archipelagos. What the key of the success in this regard? The first I would suggest is that because of Hindu theological perspective of tolerance. So in this regard, despite the fact that Hinduism at that time dominating Indonesia in general, but Hindu people in Indonesia at that time most welcome with their fellow Muslim. Yeah, and then it's created mutual understanding between Hinduism and Islam. And then the last stage is that the process of the so-called Islamic acculturation of Hinduism. This is the real historical development of Islam in Indonesia. So basically, Islam in Indonesia is not strongly influenced by Arab culture, etc., but Indian culture in this regard. So I do agree with the previous speaker that to a certain level, strong influence of India in Indonesia. And in this regard, it's quite clear that there is process what I call Indianization of Indonesia. Okay, next is that what is meant by Indianization in this regard is, according to Hari Batu, the expansion of an organized culture and that was founded upon the Indian conception of reality, which was characterized by Hindu or Buddhist cults, the mythology of the Puranas, and the observance of the Dharma Sastra, and expression itself in the Sanskrit language. In evidence, it is clear that the process of Indianization of Indonesia is through three stages: political force, there is a story of Tarumanegara, and Hindu Mataram Kingdom. It's quite clear. And then in some culture, we see the legacy of Bayak Blade, even until now. And then Japanese Buddhist dance, Sanskrit loan words, religion, of course, Hinduism and Buddhism, religious influence in Indonesia. Okay, in this regard, I just would like to focus on the development of Javanese Islam in Indonesia, which is rooted from the concept of trichotomy by Professor Anthropologist Clifford Geertz, that there is in Japanese society, there is Santri, which is devout Muslim, Abangan, and Priayi. Abangan and Priayi are strongly influenced by the culture of Hinduism. And in the reality is that we have cross-cultural theological encounter. Islam itself as a religion is both sacred and profane. In this regard, sacred Islam means that Islam is based on God's revelation. It is clear, no doubt about this. Islam also profane. Islam negotiates with the culture where Islam is present. It's not only in Arab, but also in Asia, Islam in Asia, and of course rooted from Indian culture to a certain level. The Javanese Islam is very important that in terms of character, is strongly influenced by Hindu traditional and culture. This is evident. Even in my family, my grandpa was strongly influenced by Abangan, and then to a certain level is nominal Islam, because he strongly believed to certain aspect of Hinduism, despite the fact that he declared that he is Muslim. In reality, in terms of ritual, until now, in Javanese society, there is a Selamatan, which is, thanks God, commemoration of death, 7 days, 100 days, 10,000 days, etc., after the death of a family member, which is basically the Hindu practice of Pitrayana, is correct me if I'm wrong, ceremony, visiting grave, etc., until now. So, in this regard, the Hindu tradition of, for instance, Manusayatnya ceremonies are practiced to be, for instance, in Javanese society, my social origin, Tingkepan, Babaran, it's mean that when someone, I think, mother gave birth, etc., and then Selapan, and then wedding ceremony, all influence to Islamic culture in Indonesia. And the tradition, if you have opportunity to go to Jakarta, there is a Grebek, Sekaten, etc., which is strongly influenced by Hinduism. And then it is very important to mention here that the role of Wali Songo, 9 signs in Java, is the forerunners of Islam and Hinduism culturation. Wali Songo, 9 signs, gives significant impact to the development of Islam in Java. And that's mostly, they develop Islam not on the basis of the strict and legal exclusive Islam, but cultural Islam, which is accommodating Hindu culture. Okay, this is just a good example. This is a Wali Songo, 9 sign, which is the front runners, and of course, role model of, Javanese Islam, in which strongly impose the idea of tolerant, respect to religious other including respect to Hinduism. Okay, it is coincidentally is that I was born in Kudus, which is central Java. Yeah, there is one sign from 9 signs of the so-called Sunan Kudus or Kudus sign from my hometown. He developed dakwah, mission strategy of Sunan Kudus or Kudus sign, which is developing persuasive. Yeah, its main approach toward Islam not by pushing on Sharia minded, but through Islamic Sufism. In this regard, is that Sunan Kudus developed dakwah missionary on the basis of a good wisdom, showing a good deed, and maintaining discourse, which is in Islamic word, in Arabic word, is bil hikmah wal mau'izatil hasanah wajadilhum billati hiya ahsan. And then what the different strategy developed by Sunan Kudus, side of Kudus then developed something like mutual understanding and respect to Hinduism. So in this regard, Sunan Kudus at that time declared such a fatwa, although not real fatwa or edict, prohibiting Muslim to cut cow. Yeah, this is interesting. Why? Because at that time Kudus was dominated by Hinduism, but to attract many Hindu at the time, Sunan Kudus declaring that it is unlikely that Muslim cut cow at that time. So until now, the legacy is quite clear. There is no kebab, ko kebab, sate in English language, but mostly buffalo kebab. Why? Because this is the historical rules of Islam in Kudus. And it is very important that Sunan Kudus also built the so-called Menara Kudus or Kudus Minaret as a symbol of culturation of Islam to Hinduism. The lesson that need to be taken into account is that the spirit of tolerance, respect to religious other, show that Sunan Kudus able to develop cultural Islam in this regard. This is the picture. This is Sunan Kudus with very respect to Hinduism. Yeah, Sunan Kudus. Next is that this is the a picture of Menara Kudus. You see this building, is in the complex of Menara Kudus. There is minaret, menara, we call menara, which is basically the architecture is based on Hindu architecture. It still exists until now, and many people love so much to see this kind of reality in which Islam and Hinduism can be working together, can be developing mutual understanding, mutual respect. Okay, next. Yeah. So in this regard, I would suggest that Indonesian Islam is different with Islam in the Middle East. Why? Because we call ourselves as part of Islam Nusantara or Nusantara Islam, yeah, in which Islam Nusantara is able to negotiating with local culture, especially Hinduism in the case of Javanese, yeah. And then there is a process of the so-called indigenization of Islam in Indonesia. It is actually basically the idea of the late my good friend President Wahid. He calls pre-Bunisasi Islam, the indigenization of Islam. Because according to Wahid, is that Islam should be able to accommodate with the local culture. So this is characteristics of Nusantara Islam is that promoting dialogue and peace approach, adapting local tradition and wisdom, considering there is no contradiction between Islam and nationalism, respecting religious pluralism, maintaining civil society, having moderate approach and rejecting Islamism and radicalism. Okay.
Hello,
This
Mr. Anwar. Sorry to interrupt you. Can you sir wind up in 2-5 minutes? 3 minutes?
Yes. How many minutes?
Can you wind up the talk in 2-3 minutes, sir? In
Yes, okay. Let me.
Sorry.
This is the reality. Okay, I try to do my best because the impact of cultural encounter between India and Indonesia. Usually, in the reality, as we have our state ideology, Pancasila, 5 principles, especially the first sila, Ketuhanan Yang Maha Esa, believe in one supreme God. Pancasila and Esa are rooted in Sanskrit language. So this is the clear Indianization of Indonesia. Yeah. And then Indonesia supported Indonesian independence in 1945. The close friendship between Soekarno and Jawaharlal Nehru. And then very interesting is that both philosopher Rabindranath Tagore visiting Indonesia in Java Valley, he made this kind of statement. Yeah, I see God everywhere in Indonesia. This is from Rabindranath Tagore. Yeah, you know better than me. Yeah? The challenge is that we see the reality that now the so-called Nusantara Islam, which is strongly influenced by Indianization process, we face the rise of conservative radical Islam, especially in post-war era, in which they promote the exclusive Islam, rejecting local Islam, especially Islam Nusantara, and pushing them as disbeliever and we say heretic. And then the agenda of promoting proper-reviving Islam based on strict Sharia minded, and the agenda of promoting Indonesia as piece of Islamic State. This is the agenda. But in this regard, I would suggest I will be conclude in this regard that legacy of India and Indonesia cross-cultural still exists until now and has been developing until Pancasila still remain exists. The strength of moderate Islamic organization inclusive Islam Nusantara, or the concept of Nusantara Islam. Okay, in conclusion, Indonesian history is also rooted from Indianization, but has also created shared heritage and civilizational linkage between India and Indonesia. Indonesian Islam is rooted from the process of socio-cultural accommodation toward Hinduism, particularly from the Javanese Islam. Contrary to Islam in the Middle East, Nusantara Islam respect local tradition, local wisdom, and cultural aspect, including Hinduism. Despite facing challenge from conservative and radical Islam, which is rooted from the ideology of transnational Islam in the Middle East, it is clear that the majority of Indonesian Islam remains moderate and respect to religious pluralism and tolerance. That's all. Thank you very much, and my apology for extending the time. Thank you very much.